Hello everyone. Have you ever wondered why a village woman today, dressed in a pink sari with a small bag of medicines, is trusted by her entire community to guide them on health, nutrition, and family planning? That trust did not happen overnight. It was designed almost 50 years ago. Today we are going to explore the Shrivastav Committee, the report that architected the very foundation of India's rural health system. Let us start with who built this blueprint. The committee was chaired by Dr. J.B. Shrivastav, who was then the Director General of Health Services. He was joined by several key members. Together, this expert group set out to redesign India's health architecture. To understand why this committee was needed, we must look at the broken, urban-centric system of the mid-1970s. Compare the pre-1975 model with the Shrivastav vision. In terms of focus, the old system was urban-centric, concentrated in capital cities, while the Shrivastav vision pushed for rural-centric, universal coverage from the periphery. In terms of approach, the old system was curative-heavy, relying on sophisticated diagnostic aids, while the new vision prioritized preventive, promotive, and community health first. In terms of workforce, doctors were alienated from rural realities, causing severe rural shortages, while the new vision proposed a team based approach utilizing local paraprofessionals. And in terms of education, training was isolated, with nutrition and family planning taught separately, while the new vision called for an integrated curriculum encompassing family welfare and national needs. The core mandate of this committee was to bridge the gap between medical theory and rural reality, much like building a bridge connecting two distant shores. On one side stood high level doctors and urban hospitals, and on the other side stood grassroots rural communities with their unmet needs. To connect these two sides, the committee proposed two pillars. Pillar 1 was reorienting education, shifting undergraduate medical education to emphasize community and national requirements rather than isolated hospital care. Pillar 2 was creating a vital link by training a new cadre of health assistants who were conversant in basic medical aid, nutrition, and maternal and child welfare to connect doctors and multipurpose workers. At the heart of this blueprint was a core philosophy built around health, wealth, and human resources. The committee consciously abandoned the Western, consumption oriented model in favor of an economic, human effort model. This philosophy rested on three foundations. The first was an attack on mass poverty, recognizing that universal health is impossible while stark poverty persists, and that health and wealth generation must support one another. The second was individual and community duty, where health is treated as an individual responsibility, and communities must foster environments for safe water, sanitation, and disease control. The third was human resource optimization, utilizing education and health for human development, heavily relying on part time, semi professional workers rather than solely state controlled professionals. This philosophy translated into a 6 tier structure for community health. Let us walk through each tier one by one. Tier 1 was about empowering grassroots paraprofessionals. The resource pool here included existing community members such as traditional DAIs, 2.5 million primary school teachers, and 1.5 million educated rural housewives. In terms of structure, these workers acted as part-time self-employed individuals. Crucially, they were not bureaucratized or paid through state remuneration, which helped preserve deep community trust. Their function was to be trained to dispense specific remedies for common day-to-day illnesses, promote family planning, and provide basic maternal and child health services. Tier 2 focused on structuring the multi-purpose workforce. For every community of 5,000 citizens, there was one male health worker and one female health worker, providing specific remedies and integrating health, family welfare, and nutrition. Above them, at the supervisory level, there was one male and one female health assistant for every two male and female health workers. These health assistants were located at sub-centers, and their role was to supervise as well as perform health worker duties at a higher technical level. Tier 3 was about redefining the primary health center, or PHC. Before 1975, the PHC doctor was bogged down by hundreds of routine day-to-day ailments and minor complaints. Under the Shrivastav vision, Tiers 1 and 2 were designed to delegate up to 80% of common illnesses to community workers. This freed the PHC doctor to shift focus toward complex referred cases and to lead promotive health initiatives, preventive community medicine, and direct regional public health strategy. Tier 4 was about constructing the referral services complex. The goal here was to end the isolation of medical institutions and create an integrated, ubiquitous network where medical colleges developed direct, ongoing links with PHCs and local communities. This created a referral web starting from the community paraprofessional, moving up through the sub-center with its health assistants, then to the primary health center as the local hub, followed by the taluk hospital, then district and regional hospitals, and finally reaching the medical college hospital, which served as the apex curative center. Tier 5 focused on reorienting undergraduate medical education. This meant shifting the core of undergraduate education from urban hospital care to rural community realities. It also meant treating biology as a multilateral science, mandating that biology be taught across the entire spectrum, from molecules to individual human beings to communities and to whole populations. And it meant building an integrated curriculum fusing the teaching of family planning, nutrition, and maternal and child health directly into the core medical curriculum, ending their development in isolation. Tier 6 was the Apex Medical and Health Education Commission. Its mandate was to function as the supreme coordinating agency driving immediate reforms in medical and health education. This apex body was modeled akin to the University Grants Commission. Below it stood national councils overseeing specific education panels and enforcing curriculum changes nationally. This commission was granted statutory power, including financial power and the statutory obligation to implement radical programs. Now let us look at how this vision unfolded in reality. The Shrivastav vision was published in 1975, setting a radical new baseline for community health. By 1977, the Rural Health Scheme was officially launched, acting directly on the committee's recommendations. However, there was a drawback. The rollout of medical college curriculum reforms was slow due to entrenched institutional habits and resistance to shifting away from urban models. This led to the Bajaj Committee intervention in 1986, which was established to review health manpower and fix the unresolved workforce planning and management gaps. Even with these challenges, the enduring legacy of this committee is remarkable. It shows the journey from 1975 housewives to modern ASHA workers. The 1975 conceptual groundwork trusted local semi-professional women to deliver grassroots healthcare, integrating health, nutrition, and family welfare into the hands of a trusted, educated housewife or DAI. In modern reality, the core DNA of the Shrivastav report survived and evolved into the National Health Mission's ASHA program, which stands today as one of the most successful public health initiatives in modern India. Together, all 6 tiers form a unified ecosystem of integrated community health. At the top sits the Apex Commission, which dictates governance and curriculum. Below it are the medical colleges, followed by district hospitals and medical colleges, together forming the referral anchor for care. Below that are the primary health centers, then health assistants and multipurpose workers who provide symbiotic community delivery, and finally, at the base, the grassroots paraprofessionals. Together, this represents a total paradigm shift from isolated urban curative care to an integrated rural preventive ecosystem. To summarize the Shrivastav blueprint, remember the word CHARMS: community paraprofessionals, meaning teachers, KAIs, and housewives; health assistants, forming the supervisory link at a ratio of 1:2; Apex Commission, the UGC style medical education body; Referral Complex, the seamless web from village to medical college; medical education reform, moving from molecules to populations, with integrated nutrition and family planning; and strengthening PHCs, with a worker ratio of 1:5,000, allowing doctors to focus on complex care. Hope you have understood about the Shrivastav Committee. If you found this video useful, please like and share with your friends and colleagues. Thank you.